There's another one from Cameroon here. Dear Pastor, what does the Bible mean by saying, if your hand causes you to sin, cut it off? And if your eye causes you to sin, cut it off. It is better to enter into the kingdom of heaven with one hand than to go to hell with your full body. Yeah, I want you to understand the teachings of Jesus. And many times, Jesus brought knowledge to his listeners in a way that they could understand exactly what he was saying. He wanted them to be able to ask certain questions and answer those questions from their own reasoning about themselves. So sometimes he spoke in parables. Many times he spoke in parables. But this is not a parable. What Jesus is saying here is very simple. I want you to listen to it because it was stated several times. From what you wrote here is actually what you have in the Bible. He says, if your hand causes you to sin, cut it off. In another portion it says, if your hand offends you, which means the same thing, causes you to sin, cut it off. And if your eye causes you to sin, the question you should ask is, can your hand cause you to sin? Can your eye cause you to sin? Jesus said something one time. The Jews came to him and they said, Rabbi, we see that your disciples are doing that which is not lawful to do on the Sabbath day. And then they questioned him. Why do your disciples eat without washing their hands? So they wanted answers from Jesus. And so Jesus taught something that was very important. He said, it's not that which enters into you that defiles you. It's that which comes out of you. And when he said that, even the disciples had difficulty getting it. So they came to him later in the house and they said, Master, what did you mean what you said to those Jews? They were offended. And then Jesus said, don't you understand? It's not that which goes into you that defiles you. It's what comes out of you. See, because what comes out of you comes from your heart. And that's the point. So how can you say your hand caused you to sin? So Jesus says, if it's your hand that caused you to sin, cut it off. If it's your eye that caused you to sin, cut it out. So question, where is your sin? Where is your sin? Jesus always wanted to point them to their hearts. He always wanted them to know where the problem was. The problem was not in the hand that they cut, because the law said if they cut somebody, here and here was what they should do. Stone him to death, cut out this, cut out that. So, tooth for tat. Why did that man offend you? He hit you. Okay. If he cut your hand off, you cut his hand off. All of these kind of things. Now, Jesus says the real sin is in the heart. The real sin is in the heart. So if you were going to cut off your hand, you say, if my hand caused me to sin. Question is, how did your hand cause you to sin? Does your hand have a mind of its own? Can your hand act on its own? Can your hand steal on its own? Can your eyes lust on their own? He's pointing you to something. He's pointing you to something. He's pointing you to your heart. That's what Jesus is doing. Pointing you to your heart. So you understand that. That's why he said it's better to go into life or to go into the kingdom of God with one hand than to go to hell with two hands. So why don't you cut it? And it'll be the Jews' mind to say, but Master, my hand didn't make me do it. My hand was an agent. And they said, that's it. Oh, my eyes didn't make me do it. My eyes were an agent. Oh, that's it. So your eyes don't lust. Your hands don't steal. He said, out of the heart proceedeth evil thoughts and thefts and blasphemies and so on and so forth. It's from the heart. So it's the heart that needs a change. And that's what he was getting at. That you need another heart. And that's what the prophet said. A new heart also will I give you. And a new spirit will I put within you. And I'll take the stony heart out of your flesh and give you another flesh. You need another heart. That's what Jesus is saying. You've got to have it cut out. And he'll give you a new heart. you.